We have been sold a story about leadership, reinforced in movies, in history books, in the corner offices of towering skyscrapers. It is the story of the lone charismatic hero leader, the singular genius, the powerful figure at the top, who, through sheer force of will, brilliant vision and charisma, commands the troops and steers the ship through stormy seas. We are taught to look to the top for leadership, to wait for direction from the person with the grandest title, the most authority. What if everything we've been taught about leadership is a lie? This top-down, command and control model of leading is a relic of an industrial age, designed for a world from a bygone era of linear cause and effect outcomes and predictability. But that is not the world we live in today. Our challenges are complex, dynamic, unpredictable. This old model of leadership is a dangerous and outdated approach to leading that limits our perspective and misunderstands the true origin of power and leadership, missing out on the very potential within the emerging leaders right within their charge. We must reject the idea that leadership is a rank to be achieved. We must stop searching for a single hero to save the organization like the center of wheel, with the spokes around it bending and marching to its demands. Because it's a misguided view of leading that disempowers people. It creates dependency and stifles growth. True leadership is not about being in charge. It is about taking care of those in our charge, about influence more than authority. It is about creating environments where great ideas can emerge from anywhere and anyone to the organization thrive. The first step is to unlearn what we thought leadership meant. So we must start by dismantling this myth. It's time to disrupt our view about leadership. Let's go deeper. We often view leadership as synonymous with personality. Someone outgoing, confident, able to command a room, we call them a natural-born leader. To some extent, this is true. But charisma alone is not true leadership. It can mask a profound lack of substance, insecurity, or worse, narcissism. The charismatic hero leader can energize a moment, but when the moment fades, so does the momentum, and the strategy and organizations built around them often crumble. Leadership is not what most people think it is. For decades, leadership has been depicted as something formal that is practiced by seasoned, grey-haired individuals at the C-suite level, something inaccessible to those who are younger or who happen to be women or people of colour. Yet it only takes a brief look at current events to see that leaders are struggling. They are challenged in areas of moral leadership, societal impact and effectiveness. In a time of rapid social change and incredible technological advances, we need a newer and more inclusive approach to leadership. Yet we continue to accept the idea that true leaders are set apart by their strong personalities and achieve results by dictating their vision to others. This may have worked well in the industrial age of the early 1900s, but most of our businesses and organizations have long evolved past this era. Today, with some exceptions, we work remotely in geographically dispersed teams, sometimes internationally. The composition of those teams can span generations, genders, languages, socioeconomic classes and values. The nature of our work has also changed. We have shifted from a machine and manufacturing economy beyond a knowledge and information economy toward one that is defined by AI and other advances in technology. Many in the generation entering the workforce today have been raised and educated almost entirely on electronic devices, and they bring new ways of thinking, learning, and working that are vastly different from the traditionalists in the C-suite. Yet we continue to focus leadership development efforts only on the outer characteristics that match the leadership needs of the industrial era, such as good social skills, leadership communication, and executive presence. We need models and approaches to leadership that surpass what has been offered throughout the last century, and that bring human elements back into view in information-rich environments. We need to go beyond models and disrupt our thinking about what leadership really is. If leadership is not a position on an org chart, then what is it? It is a function. In our current thinking, leadership puts the leader at the center or at the pinnacle. Leaders are viewed as authorities who drive all decisions, hold all the power, and in many cases, have all the knowledge and answers. Yet we know intuitively that this cannot be true. Our organizations are too big, and information exchange too vast and rapid for this to be the case. Therefore, we must consider new ways of thinking about how one leads. The centrality of leadership needs to be pushed out into the middle ranks of the organization, among those closest to performing the work. This way, leadership becomes an extension of the leader that is carried out, multiplied and amplified by the knowledge, creativity, and insight of those emerging leaders within the organization. Really smart and motivated people exist in the middle ranks of the organization, but their leadership is not in view because they are not in view. A disruptive view of leadership is needed. The traditional view of leadership places an emphasis on traits and position, exerting authority over someone less powerful. It is linear in its design and relies on power and authority to generate desired outcomes. But true leadership has less to do with seeking to be in charge. Effective leadership is more about influencing others to achieve more than they imagined. It's about being steady and principled, creating a culture of safety so that your organization can thrive. It's also about being selfless and magnanimous, seeking the best interest of your workforce. If you were to stop and think about the great leaders that you have encountered, what would be some of their characteristics? That they were technical experts, that they came in precisely at 8 a.m. and never left a minute before 5 p.m.? Probably not. Rather, what likely made them a great leader was how they treated you, how they treated others, how they made you feel, perhaps safe or able to achieve. Create space for those voices. Ask questions. Be humble enough to not have all the answers. Younger generations expect to be heard. Diversity of thought is a strategic advantage. The leader's job is to cultivate it. For far too long, our picture of a leader has been narrow, predominantly male, predominantly white. This is not where talent resides. It is a reflection of systems that exclude brilliant minds. Underrepresentation is not a social nicety. It is a leadership and business failure. Studies show organizations with more women in leadership are more profitable and more socially responsible. They produce higher quality customer experiences and safer outcomes. Women often lead collaboratively and empathetically, skills essential to modern work. The issue isn't a lack of qualified people. It's unconscious bias, outdated structures, and promotion processes favoring those who look like past leaders. Networking and informal gatekeeping exclude many talented people. To create equity, we must redesign the table, not just invite diverse people to sit at it. Equity creates a richness of ideas and a deeper understanding of customers and communities. Diverse leaders attract diverse talent, which fuels innovation and better decision-making. Representation matters, not tokenism, because it reshapes leadership itself and secures an organization's future. Over 2,000 years ago, Lao Tzu offered a profound insight into leadership. He wrote, "A leader is best when people barely know he exists, not so good when they obey and acclaim him, worse when they despise him. But of a good leader who talks little, when his work is done, his aim fulfilled, they will all say, 'We did it ourselves.'" True leadership isn't absence, it's engaged, behind-the-scenes work, clearing obstacles, securing resources, coaching, mentoring. They smooth the road, they create the conditions for others to succeed. Their satisfaction comes from the team's growth, not personal accolades. They build capacity and a legacy of competence that endures. This is the infinite game. Leaders who seek the best outcomes for the benefit of all. Great leaders do not just build profit, they build a community among their customers, their constituents, their employees. So where does this leave us? It leaves us looking in the mirror. The story about the old models of leadership, the one that's caused you to hold back waiting on permission to lead, it's a myth. You need not wait anymore. If leadership is a function, the responsibility rests with each of us. You do not need to wait for permission to lead. Start with one small choice. Listen more in the next meeting. Offer help to a colleague. Defend a quiet idea. Connect work to purpose. Be the leader you wish you had. Build a culture of psychological safety. Create cultures of belonging. Start today with one small act, and your leadership will grow stronger. Leadership is not what you think it is. Leaders are not just born, nor made. They emerge.